Hi friends, welcome to Beautifully Bookish Bethany. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my reading plans for the spookiest month of the year, October. I am so excited that it's fall, and in New York it's raining and in the 60s today. It feels like fall. I'm like wearing a sweater, which is very exciting, and I love this time of year. It's my favorite. October is going to be a little bit nuts. I have a lot of events. I've got New York Comic Con happening, and every year I do a video project where I watch a bunch of horror films and vlog them. So I'm going to be doing that this year as well, which means that my reading tends to take a hit, and that's coming out of a September where I have read very little, at least at this point. Like, it's been a low September reading month after an unusually high August. It balances out, it's fine. I was traveling and there's just been a lot going on, and it's fine. But I'm not expecting a ton in October, so hopefully, I mean, we'll see what happens. As always, I'm going to tell you the things that I'm definitely going to be picking up in the month for book clubs and read-alongs and things like that, and there are more than usual for that. And then the things that are kind of on my pile of possibilities. Some of this is stuff that's getting rolled over from September, things that I didn't get to, which is okay. And I do want to note for anybody watching this thinking, Bethany, you're doing a video about horror movies? What about the ongoing strike? And to that I say, yes, absolutely. I support the strike 100%. And that is why this year all of the horror movies going on my list are from A24. They are a fantastic indie studio that does a lot of great horror films, and they have an interim agreement because they have agreed to all of the terms and are not being struck. So basically for this year, I'm kind of throwing my previously planned list out the window. Anything from struck companies is not going to be on that, and instead I'm just going to be doing films from A24. But I really like them. Last year I watched 2 A24 horror films for my project, and they were among my favorites. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is by A24, and the intense wild one. This one. I'll put the picture here because it's I can't think of it. I know the name. Oh well, it's this one. Anyway, A24 did both of those, and they've made a lot of horror films, so I'm excited to check those out. So stay tuned for that. The point of this being, I have viewing plans for October, I have Comic-Con plans for October, and then I have my reading plans, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's start with all of my required reads. These are books for Patreon, for book clubs, for read-alongs, things that I am definitely going to be reading. So first up, for my Patreon and channel member book club, every month my $5 and above patrons have the chance to vote on a book that we read together for book club and discuss at the end of the month. And I do different themes every month. Of course, because it was October, we were going to do horror. Nobody should be surprised. I am thrilled because the book that they all want to read is one of my favorite books of the year, and I am happy, more than happy, to reread it. I had an early copy of this book and did a buddy read of it back in like January or February. Obsessed. We're reading Lone Women by Victor Lavelle, and I could not be more thrilled. I love this. I think it's brilliant, and I'm really excited to reread it and discuss it with everybody. There's so many layers to this. There's not much I can say about it without spoiling it either. So it will be really fun to have it as a spoilery book club pick. I'm really excited for this one. So I'm going to be rereading Lone Women, which will be fun for book club. What can I say about this? It's like, it's a horror novel set in the early 1900s, I want to say, and it follows a young Black woman who is moving to the wilds of Montana to resettle after her parents died in a gruesome fashion, and she carries along with her this big mysterious trunk, and it seems like every time it's open people die, and then things go from there. That doesn't give you a lot of information about the book, but it is so good and so smart, and I'm very excited to reread it. Then every month some of my higher tier patrons have the chance to suggest and vote on books that they want to see me do an exclusive reading vlog for. So these are videos that are exclusive to patrons and channel members at $5 a month and above. Last month, it was The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, which I was not a fan of, and they got like a 30-minute video from me about that. So yeah, I'm hoping that this month's book goes a lot better. I'm excited to read it, actually. This is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. It is a queer and Black feminist classic, and I was gifted this beautiful edition of it. I actually tried to read this once many years ago and DNF'd it. I don't think I knew what I was getting into, and also I was a very different person in a very different part of my life back then, so I'm super curious to see how I get on with this now. So I will be reading The Color Purple and doing a vlog. Then Blades and Bodice Rippers Book Club is returning with our Halloween show October 28th, so look forward to that. It's hosted on my channel, and for that we are going to be reading The Magic Toy Shop by Angela Carter. I'm very excited. This is with myself, Mara from Books Like Whoa, Leanna from Leanna's Library, and Amanda from The Naughty Librarian, so join us Halloween night. We're all going to be dressed up as creepy dolls. We've been doing themed costumes for the lives, and they've been a blast, so we'll have our Halloween party with that. This is like a modern classic about a kind of creepy toy shop, I think, so that should be fun. Then our Circle of Magic read-along is continuing with Cold Fire by Tamara Pierce. This is Daja's second book in the Circle Opens series, so we'll be doing a live show on my channel for that, along with everybody else joining in the read-along. Should be fun. I love these books. Then we are also, at some point in the month, I'm not sure exactly when, we need to like nail down a date, but we're going to be over on Amanda from the Naughty Librarians channel for the next edition of the classic lesbian romance read-along, and this time we are reading Annie on My Mind, which is the first lesbian YA romance that was published as far as we know. So I've never read this before. I've heard really good things about it, and we have high hopes that we will enjoy this one as a whole better than we enjoyed the last two books that we read. But we are moving forward in time, and this is the next one up. So we'll be reading that and discussing it over on Amanda's channel. For the podcast, I'm going to be reading Go Hex Yourself by Jessica Clare with Izzy from Happy for Now. This is our spooky Halloween romance read for the first half of the month. And then me and Leanna will be finishing our Witcher read-along with Season of Storms by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is kind of a prequel, but not exactly. It takes place somewhere in the middle of the first short story collection, and I don't know that we've heard the best things about it, but we're gonna read it and we're gonna discuss it on Chapter 3 podcast. And then finally, I'm going to be reading Golden Fool by Robin Hobb. The live show for this is going to be the first Friday in November, so stay tuned for that. We are having the live show the first Friday in October for book 1 in the Tawny Man trilogy, so join me. There's going to be a couple of new faces on my channel and some old ones, so it's going to be a good time if you want to come and hang out if you've read them before, or if you want to read along with us. We're doing a read along for those. Whew, that's a lot. Okay, so that's kind of already a lot. That's just all of my book club and read-alongs that I am getting to. I'm also pretty positively going to be reading Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I am planning to do a reading vlog of that one. It is her first adult fantasy novel, and it is not set in the Shadowhunter world. I'm very curious to see how this goes. So I have the audiobook and the physical book pre-ordered. I'm gonna do a reading vlog. I have 4 physical arcs that I had tentatively put on my September TBR and did not get to, so I'm hoping to get to at least some of these in October. I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail because I did mention them in last month's TBR, but we have Queen by Vishet Chum. This is a debut queer YA contemporary novel by a Cambodian author. Sounds great. The Odds by Lindsay Puckett, which is a spooky middle grade novel with disability rep. Beholder by Ryan Lasala, who I love. This is queer YA horror. And The Djinbot of Shantyport by Samit Basu, which is coming out in October. This is an adult sci-fi adventure that they're calling a mashup of Aladdin and Murderbot with gloriously chaotic results. I'm here for that. Sounds great. So hoping to get to some or all of those since I didn't get to them last month. Other physical books I have for review that I may read in October. The Night Hunt by Alexandra Christo. This is a kind of dark YA fantasy romance thing. I've enjoyed her writing in the past. Nothing Else But Miracles by Kate Albus. This is a middle grade historical fiction set in the Lower East Side of Manhattan during World War II and following a girl whose dad is off fighting Hitler. Calamity by Constance Fay. This is the first sci-fi romance in the new Bramble line that Tor is doing. It's like sci-fi and fantasy romance. This one is a debut novel. They're calling it equal parts steamy interstellar romance and sci-fi adventure, perfect for fans of Firefly and Alona Andrews. It sounds really fun. The early reviews have been mixed, but I'm curious to read it myself and see what I think. And then the last physical book I have is The Bell in the Fog by Lev A.C. Rosen. I am really excited about this. I read Lavender House last year and loved it. This is queer historical murder mysteries, and the Lavender House was the start of a series, so the gay main character is starting his own private detective firm and solving mysteries in 1950s San Francisco. So excited for that. Oh no, I think I have to change the battery, and then we'll talk about the e-arcs. I don't know what all I'll get to. We're gonna see. Battery has been changed. Let me see what all I have. Honestly, we're gonna see what happens. Like, most of this is stuff that was technically on my TBR last month. I will get to all of this stuff eventually. I'm just not 100% sure when. Okay, e-arcs that I have. People to Follow, which is a debut YA kind of closed, isolated murder mystery with teen influencers on an island, which sounds fun. Just a Pinch of Magic by Alicia Dow, which is her first middle grade baking fantasy novel. It looks adorable. What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This is like Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile, but fantasy with Egyptian mythology. Sounds great. And then a few that are coming out in November that if I'm really lucky, maybe we'll get to, but probably won't. You're probably just gonna see these on my November TBR, but we'll see. Maybe I'll read one of them. We have System Collapse by Martha Wells. This is the next novella in the Murderbot Diaries, which I love. Do Your Worst by Rosie Danon, which is, I think, kind of a paranormal mystery romance, but quirky. I don't know exactly. I feel like the description for this changed dramatically from when it was first announced. I like Rosie Danon though. I think she writes great contemporary stuff and has an interesting take on religion as well, so I think this will be good. Hunt on Dark Waters by Katie Roberts, who I love. This is the first book in her new pirate fantasy romance series. And Godly Heathens by H.E. Edgemon, I think. This is like a queer, non-binary, indigenous teenager dealing with dark paranormal stuff in a small town. Something along those lines. I don't know. It sounds good. So, editing Bethany here, and I realized I completely forgot to talk about Blackoweenathon, and how dare I. So I am here to talk about it now. Blackoweenathon is the brainchild of Bree from Locked Booktition, and she just keeps making it more and more epic every year. This year there's a whole map and like challenges that can carry forward into future years. It's pretty amazing. Because my month is going to be so chaotic, I probably won't be able to participate quite as much as I wanted to, but thankfully the roll of the dice was good to me, and I was able to get a few books on my Blackoweenathon TBR that will work out with books I was already planning on reading. So I will link Bree's channel down below. I really suggest that you go and check her out. She's amazing, and go check out all the stuff for Blackoweenathon, because there's sprints happening, there's read-alongs, lots of amazing hosts and things happening in different places on the internet. But here's what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna keep it really simple and do one book for 3 of the map locations. So for the Laissez-Faire Streetcar, the prompt that I rolled was a book with traveling, which is perfect because I am already reading Lone Women by Victor Lavelle, which includes traveling and I think fits the vibe for the prompt. So the goal of this is to read crime fiction and horror and mysteries by Black authors. That's the key, is like you have to read books by Black authors. So all 3 of the books on here are. Then for Noir Apothecary, this is a little bit of a stretch, but I think I can still make it fit. This is supposed to be like cozy mystery and like mysteries with a romance subplot or romances with a mystery subplot. So for this, I rolled the prompt Cozy Mystery with a Romance Subplot. And for that, I am planning to read My Rogue to Ruin by Erica Ridley, which is a historical romance with a mystery subplot. And I've been meaning to read it for a while. I was supposed to read it this month and haven't gotten around to it. So I think this will work out really nicely for November. I love Erica Ridley's books, and this one has a heroine who is disabled, so I think that's going to be great. And then lastly, for Ruby's Crew Park, this is middle grade books. And I got a free space. So again, maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, but like, I think there's kind of a mystery in it. I think it's going to work out. So I'm going to read Just a Pinch of Magic by Alicia Dow, which I already mentioned earlier in the video. So those are my 3 Blackoweenathon reads for this year, and I am so excited to see what everybody picks up. Definitely go and check it out, and I hope you guys join in. There's merch and like all kinds of stuff. It's going to be fun. Those are the things. I'm not going to get to all of them. I have a lot of books just for like read-alongs and book clubs, but like who knows, maybe I'll just really feel like reading a lot in October. I also though am, y'all, I don't know if I should say this. I am pondering doing NaNoWriMo this year. I don't know, we'll see. I've been thinking about a thing that I want to work on. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Anyway, so there you go. Lots of stuff to view, to read. It's gonna be a fun month regardless. I'm just so pleased that it's finally fall. It's like sweater weather, it's cozy. I think it's gonna be a good time. So talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts or feelings on anything I talked about in this video. And for question of the day, I would love to hear, what is your idea of cozy reading for fall? What does that look like for you? Is there a certain kind of book that you like to read that feels cozy to you? Is it like getting snuggled up in a sweater with a blanket or a hot drink? Is it like, I don't know, like what is cozy to you for fall? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, it always helps if you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.